Mr. Omer Ouellette. Again, I will ask, has everyone who wishes to speak this evening filled out a card? I've received some more, but if anyone else is interested, please send up your cards, because we're going to close off receiving cards here in a few minutes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, City Manager, Mayor, Councilors. Let me paraphrase First Lady in saying that for the first time in my life in Rochester, I am in awe of this body. Because it's the first time I can recollect when somebody does something in 2 days, it comes up with figures that way so quickly. But I am in awe. First off, that's the issue I did want to talk about, and I will talk about. You came up with some figures, and that's fine. But did you give any consideration to the fact that there are other towns and cities that have come to realize that they can't afford to pay for political visits? Especially when people are paying $30,000 and $40,000 or better to sit down and have a steak dinner, if that's what they have, maybe lobster, with people. I don't think we need to subsidize multi-million-dollar businesses, because that's what politics happens to be. And being a single home taxpayer, who in the last 5 years, though you brag about how slow and how low you kept tax increases, my mortgage payments have increased a couple of times, because I have to make up that only 10 cents that you brag about so much all the time. Because of my escrow going up, which increases your mortgage. I mentioned last December when I was here about a couple of my neighbors that are now living in other towns because they lost their homes and they sat vacant since Christmas. As a matter of fact, some of them lost them for Christmas. Nice present. What I wanted to talk about with this visit was that in the past, I've heard you discuss, and I've had other people come in here and ask about extending the exemption for the elderly, increasing it, raising the deduction for vets. Lots of times I've heard those questions asked. The first thing out of everybody's mouth here is, where are we going to get the money to cover that? Gee, that's funny. I never hear that asked when there's something like this visit, or when there's something like building a river walk, or putting a $400,000 roadway upgrade that now costs us $5 million to put a bridge over. Never mind the fact that a railroad crossing would have cost $1 million, but somebody who had to wait 5 minutes for a train that comes once a week. You know, that's ridiculous. You people have been spending money like there's no problem in this country. Some of you claim to be conservative, but I haven't seen it in years. None of you. You talk conservative and you spend liberally. One issue that I mentioned was the $5 million. We all want business to come to Rochester, but because that would offset the tax rate. But we don't offset the tax rate when for 15 to 20 years we have a TIF or in lieu of or things of that sort that hurt the individual homeowner and the small businessman so badly as they do. There's a blind trust on that park, and I don't know how many of you sit here and own stock in it. Because I tried to find that out 20 years ago when I was on the council. It's a blind trust. We don't know if the new city manager out of New Jersey, because it comes from a family named Katz out of New York City. Maybe he bought some stock before he came here for the job. No offense. But nobody here knows that. Nobody knows where you're spending this kind of money on developing these businesses. We don't need businesses to come here as overlords. We need businesses to come here as equal fellow taxpayer and citizens. That's about all I got to say. I know it will make a difference to most of you. But you really need to spend like it was coming out of your own bank account or your own wallet for a change. There's many of you that don't even look at that because you're too well set already. I don't know if you have any neighbors or friends that lost their homes, but I have. It's not a pretty sight. Thank you.
Thank you.
GrokTV.